Hey there, and welcome. All right, today we're talking about something, well, something most of us can't even imagine starting our day without. Yep, caffeine. But what if that cup of coffee, that go-to energy drink, is actually part of this bigger, much more complicated cycle? A trap, even.
So yeah, that's the big question, right? I mean, for so many of us, it's the key to getting things done. But there's this really fine line, a tipping point, between a helpful little boost and a habit that's actually hurting you. And that's what we're going to figure out today. Where exactly is that line?
Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll look at why it's the world's favorite drug. Then we'll pinpoint that moderation tipping point, where good turns to bad. After that, we're going to dive into the science, borrowing tomorrow's energy. Then we'll uncover the cortisol and sleep trap, those hidden costs. And finally, the good stuff, how to reclaim your true energy.
All right, Section 1, the world's favorite drug. Let's just take a second to appreciate how massive our global habit really is.
Think about this for a second. Caffeine is the world's most widely used psychoactive substance. I mean, more than anything else that changes how our brain works, this is the one we all reach for, every single day. It's just everywhere. It's part of our work culture, how we socialize. It's just baked right into our daily rituals.
And look, let's be fair, it's not all doom and gloom. There's a really good reason we love it so much. When you use it in moderation, the science is pretty clear. It helps with alertness, it can boost your metabolism, and yeah, some studies even suggest it can help you live longer. So the upsides, they're totally real. But, and you knew there was a but coming, there's a catch.
And that brings us right to our next section, the moderation tipping point. This is the part of the story where things take a sharp turn and all those good things we just talked about, they can start turning into some pretty serious problems. So, where is that line? Well, according to some really big studies, the balance starts to shift once you get above 5 or 6 cups a day. Yeah, once you cross that line, the whole health equation just flips. And believe me, it doesn't flip in your favor. Okay, get this. Research shows that going over 6 cups a day is tied to an 11% higher risk of cardiovascular disease.
And it gets worse. That same amount, 6 or more cups a day, was also linked to a 53% higher chance of dementia. 53%. I mean, wow. Those are numbers you just can't ignore.
So, okay, the goal here isn't to demonize coffee. It's all about finding that balance. And the research keeps pointing to this metabolic sweet spot. For most of us, that's somewhere around 3 to 5 cups a day. That's where you get all the good stuff without wandering into the danger zone. But why? Why does this happen? What's actually going on inside our brains that creates this whole trap in the first place? Well, the science behind it is actually pretty fascinating.
Have you ever had one of those days, if you drink a coffee, then another one, and you feel absolutely nothing? It's easy to think, oh, I'm just immune to it now. But what's really happening inside your brain is a completely different story.
Okay, here's how it works at a basic level. All day long, this chemical called adenosine is building up in your brain. You can think of it as your brain's natural fatigue signal. The more you have, the sleepier you feel. What caffeine does is it comes in and acts like a bouncer at a club, literally blocking the doorways, the receptors, so adenosine can't get in. And that's what makes you feel awake.
So, back to that feeling of being immune, here's what's really going on. Your brain is smart. It realizes, hey, my sleepiness signals are being blocked. So what does it do? It builds more doorways, more adenosine receptors, to try and get the message through. That right there is tolerance. It's why you suddenly need more and more caffeine just to get that same old effect. So, you're not immune. That's a total myth. The drug is still having a huge impact on your brain chemistry.
And this quote from neuroscientists just nails it. They describe this as borrowing tomorrow's energy to pay for today's productivity. It's such a perfect way to put it, right? You're not actually making new energy. You're just taking out a high-interest loan on the energy you're supposed to have tomorrow. And eventually, that bill always comes due.
So paying back that energy debt, it has some very real, very physical costs. And it shows up in 2 huge areas, our stress hormones and, you guessed it, our sleep.
Okay, this is a big one for a lot of people. That morning coffee on an empty stomach? When you do that, it can trigger a huge spike in cortisol, which is your body's main stress hormone. That's what gives you that kind of jittery, anxious, wired feeling. And even worse, it totally sets you up for a monster energy crash later in the afternoon. All right, now let's fast forward to the end of the day.
Just like caffeine blocks your I'm tired signals, it also messes with your go-to-sleep signals. The main one is a hormone called melatonin. It's what tells your body it's time to power down. Well, caffeine basically tells melatonin, nope, not yet, and pushes its release back, delaying when you naturally feel sleepy.
And here's the really sneaky part. Even if you manage to fall asleep just fine, the caffeine that's still hanging around in your system is wrecking the quality of your sleep. It specifically messes with the second half of your sleep cycle, making those deep, restorative stages a lot lighter, so you're not getting the kind of rest your body is screaming for.
And this right here is a huge aha moment for a lot of us. Do you ever wake up wide awake between like 3 and 5 a.m. for no reason? Yeah, it's probably not because you're just a natural early riser. It could very well be your body's sleep clock being thrown completely out of whack by the caffeine you had 12 hours ago.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem, and it might sound a little bleak, but the good news is you absolutely do not have to quit caffeine entirely. It's not about that. It's about being smarter, building a healthier relationship with it, and learning how to reclaim your true energy.
So how do we do it? Here are 4 super simple, science-backed steps. Number 1, keep your intake under that 5-cup-a-day sweet spot. 2, never have caffeine before breakfast. Eat something first to manage that cortisol spike. 3, set a cutoff time. Stop drinking it by the early afternoon to give your melatonin a chance. And 4, don't forget to alternate with water and real food to give your body actual stable fuel.
And really, this is the whole point. The goal isn't just to be awake, it's to feel truly energized. And that kind of lasting, sustainable energy, it only comes from good rest and good nutrition. It doesn't come from a chemical loan that always leaves you running on empty in the end.
So I'll just leave you with this one last question to chew on. What if you could actually break that cycle? You know, the constant borrowing and crashing? Just imagine for a minute what you could accomplish with real, sustainable energy that's all your own. What could you do with that? What would that change?